It pops. I Jim in Chicago with a quick hitter, a one and done. Then I'm going to a prophecy, but at the same time, as what the scripture says, the spirit of Yahweh Shai is to be occupied in prophecy. Okay, so I'm going to let me see how I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna go to my YouTube account, pull up a couple things real quick, and just put a quick scripture to it. Let me see. How do I go back to my history for a hot second? Okay, let me see. Actually, library. That's how I hit it. I'll pull it up this way. This isn't that. That isn't what I want. Yeah, here we go. These last two right here. Okay. We'll do this, then I'm gonna go back to this and pull this. Okay, hold on. Let me change the
Bluetooth is connected.
The sound and whatnot so we can get what we got going. Okay, so now roll this out the way a little bit. Like I said, always commercials, so I can't get around that part of it either. Property crisis. You can see this is on the 20th of January 2023, and I'm pulling this up because it's talking about how some of the richest men in China has lost, like especially in real estate, has lost like 93% of his wealth. I'm gonna run this and then I'm gonna put another scripture, another scenario on it, and put a scripture to it. So let me let this play through. Skip the ad.
And to discuss it.
Here we go.
Under the impact of the continuous, stringent zero-COVID policy, coupled with a 2-year brutal regulatory crackdown, Chinese tycoons saw their fortunes plunge last year by the most significant amount in more than 2 decades. According to a Bloomberg report on January 20th, Hui Kaiyan, China's former wealthiest and most prominent citizen, has lost 93% of his fortune over the last few years. Data from the Bloomberg Billionaires Index show that the China Evergrande Group chairman's wealth has plummeted to $3 billion from the $42 billion that once helped him become Asia's second wealthiest tycoon. The outlet also noted that Hui has constantly found himself separated from politics by the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, or CPPCC. Hui joined the elite group of CCP regulators and the most famous names in business in 2008, and its supreme 300-member standing committee in 2013. Despite long years of service for the group, Evergrande's founder was not invited to its annual conference last year, as he was the developer at the heart of the country's property crisis. In addition, the CPPCC has also excluded Hui from its most recent list of members for the next half-decade, other cash-strapped property billionaires.
So now this guy has been excluded from being able to be in this group for the next decade, so for 10 years. So what does that say? This motherfucker thinking that they go be around for the next 10 years, that they're going to exclude him from being able to be part of the group. Okay, so we know what scripture that is. They end with thought is that their houses shall continue forever. See, this Moabite think that he's going to have next. You know, he had the strongest gross national product for the last few years. Manufacturing is what they do now. And it's that another over in the Orient. Like I said, we don't even make shit here in America like we used to, you know, as far as TVs and dependable cars and all that other kind of shit. And, you know, like I said, you know, Dodge right now was running the gambit on muscle cars and whatnot with these SRTs and Hellcats and these types of things, but motherfuckers out there tearing them up too. So it is what it is on that. And like I said, I'm not blowing Babylon's horn either, you know, as far as they being this, they being that. Like this one motherfucker just talked all this bullshit about military might, talking about the F-15, the F-16, the F-22, the MRAM tanks and all this other kind of shit, the KC-135s and all this, how they military might, you know, all this other shit. So like I said, you know, these motherfuckers want to think that this motherfucker's gonna be around forever when the scripture says that exactly that. Their inward thought is that it's going to continue forever, not knowing that there's no kingdom that lasts forever, and the only kingdom that's been prophesied that's going to last forever is the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, period. Period. That's the only kingdom, and that subject to Yahweh himself, and ran by the Israelites as a whole. You know, the elected body. Uh, uh, 144,000, the 12 disciples, the whole lit. You know, that's going to be the ruling class and whatnot, with the Israelites, all of Israel being at the top of the food chain. Period. Okay, so let me let this finish going and go for that. See, so you hear that, and boom, that's the scripture that automatically should be like knee jerk for you if you're in this truth. You see, all this stuff should be inspirational for you, because all you gotta do is, like I say, you pay attention to world news and whatnot. Just tune in. Once you tune in, you see these prophecies popping off the pages, as like we say here in GMS. The prophecies are popping.
Who face the same consequence include Hui Wing Mao of Shimao Group Holdings, co-founder Zhang Li of Guangzhou-based R&F Properties, and Hoi Kin Home of Powerlong Real Estate Holdings. Hui's valuation on Bloomberg's rich list dropped after Evergrande announced that its founder recently had to spend money out of his pocket to invest in the company and meet creditors' demands. A group has reportedly required Hui to inject at least $2 billion. Bloomberg reported that Evergrande missed its first repayment on US dollar notes in 2021 and has over $16 billion of outstanding dollar bonds. The group also still needs to unveil its offshore debt overhaul plan, which
is ironic considering the fact that back in 2012, when China asked for their gold, America fucked around and then give them the gold. I think they asked for like $16 billion worth of their gold and whatnot, and it was given tungsten back. So see, this is the what's the script? What's the scripture to jump in mind there? Who shall pity the charmer? You know, basically, who shall, paraphrasing, who's going to pity the charmer? You know, when he's bit by the serpent. You know, you play around with this motherfucking snake. You know he an asshole. You know he this. You know he that. But you're still trying to see what you can finagle and whatnot. You keep trying to charm this snake, and this snake keeps biting your ass. So he took your fucking money flat out. Cause gold and silver is one of the ways that real wealth is evaluated. It ain't all this fucking fiat money that you see on the screen and shit. Okay, so real wealth is gold, silver, you know, livestock, things of this nature, you know, tangibles, as they said from the movie Baby Boy, guns and butter. You know, this fucking shit you see up in here, this is fiat. This ain't got no real value. You know, it's the real shit, the real valuable, the stuff that the world recognizes worldwide and whatnot. That's why, like I said, Omar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, when they started trying to do gold scenarios and whatnot, and back in their currency with gold and whatnot, they was aced out and taken out. Gaddafi was just flat out killed because he wanted to bag his money by gold. But the elites, the banking families, you know who I'm talking about, Rothschilds, Oppenheimers, Bilderbergs, DuPonts, and Gettys and whatnot. These cats started offering these motherfuckers and whatnot because of the fact that they want the whole gold. They want the real gold. As a matter of fact, they pumped that shit out there years ago where they was pumping platinum and whatnot, and motherfuckers was giving up their gold trying to go get platinum. There was a video that had Busta Rhymes and Mr. T comparing. They both had a neck full of fucking jewelry. Mr. T had that gold, and Busta Rhymes had all that fucking platinum and shit around his thing. Platinum ain't worth shit. They use that in fucking Intel processors and shit like that. So if it was that valuable, they wouldn't be putting that shit in no fucking processors or computer processors back in the day. So they suck at them. But yeah, not getting off a subject. So like I said, this is that. These prophecies are jumping.
Supposed to be released by the end of last year. In late July, Evergrande had already missed another deadline. The property giant couldn't submit a promised preliminary restructuring blueprint. In early December, the developer met to discuss a plan with an ad hoc group of its US dollar note investors. Due to owing a total debt of nearly $286 billion, or 1.97 trillion yuan, Evergrande will have to deal with a winding up petition in the Hong Kong court. In a winding up hearing at the end of last November, Evergrande's legal team disclosed that the company hopes to receive assistance from overseas creditors in late February or early March. In addition, the judge also pressed Evergrande to provide something more concrete for the next hearing, to be held on March 20th. This week, Evergrande has already negotiated with creditors about an overhaul plan, which includes 2 options for delaying payment deadlines on unsecured offshore loans. Moreover, PricewaterhouseCoopers also resigned as its auditor on January 16th. As reported by Bloomberg, the company has been suspended from listing its shares for nearly half a year after failing to submit 2021 earning reports. Since last March, Shimao Group also has had its trading suspended. Meanwhile, in late November, RNF's Zhang was captured in London on U.S. bribery charges after paying a record of nearly $18.6 million, or £15 million bail. Zhang is currently detained in his 5-bedroom penthouse apartment in the country's southwest region. Powerlong, another debt-laden builder, has lost over 80% of its market value since its peak in 2021.
Okay, so that's one. Now let's go to the next one. Let me see. Let's go to the next one. I want to do this.
As the smoothest man
Another
alive.
commercial.
I cannot be contained in a bathroom!
Google's parent company has announced it will shed around 6% of its workforce in the latest round of job cuts in the technology sector. In a staff memo, the Alphabet Inc. CEO said 12,000 workers will be made redundant as the company reevaluates a shift in economic reality. It is unclear how many Australian workers will be affected by the layoffs. The announcement comes days after Microsoft and Amazon announced it too would shed jobs.
Okay, so those are the 2 that I wanted to highlight, and this is the scripture that comes to mind when I see that type of stuff. I see that, and this is what comes to mind. If it's gonna go back to what I had keyed up. Come on, Ecclesiastes. I'm going to start at Ecclesiastes 12. I'm going to start at 2. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars are not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves. That was a bunch of real estate magnates, men of renown in the so-called Chinese, the Moabite real estate markets, right? But they bound themselves, and the grinders cease. You see what's happening in Australia with the workers. They get ready to lay off 12,000 of them, right? Because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. 4, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. Jobs. And he shall raise up at the voice of the bird, and all the doors of music shall be brought low. Okay. 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be burdened, and desires shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Motherfuckers crying about the jobs. Okay. Here in America, like I said, United workers are working right now without a fucking union contract. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So all this so-called uh, work scenarios and whatnot around the world is going to have to be restructured. And what's going to be at the heart of the restructuring? That Revelation 13 and 16, the MOTB, the C-HIP, that's what's going to be when nobody wants to deal with the charagma. The only ones that's pushing the charagma, okay, is what it is. Is GMS and like-minded like-minded Israelite groups that follow the teachings of GMS. Okay, so like I said, these are prophecies that are jumping off the fucking pages. Okay, I just went from China to Australia, and here in America, Babylon, that this shit is falling apart. So, like I said, for the elect's sake, that know these things, it's about faith. Pray for faith, pray for endurance, pray for strength to be able to get through it. That's what you ask for. That's what you ask Yahweh Bashim Shai to give you the strength to be able to get through these things. And then he's giving you that because the scripture bears that out. He said he's not going to put more on you than what you can bear. So this is it. This shit is happening. Okay, so don't get dismayed by what it is that you see happening in the news. This is uplifting for the hopeful elect. So I hope that is uplifting. So with that, all I want to do is I want to send all praises, honor, and glory out to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash, to the apostles and elders of GMS out of New York, elder bishops out of Connecticut, apostles down in Texas. I'm going to send double honors because these brothers, because the Akim do rule well. For the brethren around the world, pushing this truth uncut, unfiltered, give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of the prophecies, correctly breaking them down, declaring war on the planet, saying salutations. Just keep doing it. For the hopeful elect, I hope that's uplifting to know that the prophecies, all you got to do is just tune into the news and whatnot. And if you know these prophecies, you'll see them happening even as we speak in all kinds of different forms. Okay? So for you all, the Aquaf, the fear and the truth of this, the sincerity and charity, keep doing so. For that whole first group, I send a hearty shalom. But for you 2/3 Israelites that want this shit to continue, what we gonna do about jobs and all that other kind of shit? What was that? Hollywood shuffle or whatever the case might be. Why y'all want to leave the master good to us? That was what Robert Townsend character said from the Black Actors Guild or whatever that he was playing back then or whatnot in that movie Hollywood Shuffle and the whole deal. For you 2/3 Israelites and 17 other nations who are in the midst of Jacob's trouble and don't know it and wanted to go back to normal, to you all is a barber ball. So for the first group, a hearty shalom, and the second group, a barber ball.